Plastic waste is choking our cities, clogging our gutters, and it is definitely polluting our oceans. Now, what if that could all change with one decision? But how is this decision going to be made? All right, drastic move. Lagos State is going to be drastically changing how we consume and dispose of plastics. This is not a recent announcement, but it has come back up of recent. The Lagos State government has announced a groundbreaking plan to ban single-use plastics, including sachet water, aka pure water. And this is going to be starting in January 2025. For a city like Lagos, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of pollution, there's a lot of trash. This is a massive, major game changer. Not only is it a game changer for the environment, but it's also a game changer for business. Now, let's look at a few facts, right? Lagos State is home to 20 million people, probably more than that. And each day, the city is approximately generating about 13,000 metric tons. So much waste. And a significant portion of this is plastic. We are a society that we consume a lot. Pure water is a major factor in how we drink water because it is one of the most affordable ways of drinking water. And it's a major source of, reliable, clean water for most Nigerians. However, this convenience could possibly come at a cost. Now, when it comes to sachets and single use, we're talking also like nylon bags. So these would be bags where when we go grocery shopping, when we buy, our groceries, when we buy food from our fast foods, like all these single use plastics, they're contributing to a major significant waste problem that we have. Now, in addition to the fact that it's just making us have a lot of trash, it's also something that we need to think about in terms of like our climate and the role that this is going to play in the climate challenges that we're having in the future. So when we're seeing things like severe flooding, when we're seeing it rain beyond when it's supposed to rain, right? These are the effects of pollution and the effects of single-use plastics. Now let's just think back to the most recent floods that happened, not the dam, other ones, the ones where rainfall is getting heavier and heavier each year. Guys, this is a trickle down and a result of the change in the climate. For Nigeria, which is part of the global south, this perspective is really crucial. It's very important. Developing nations like Nigeria, we are disproportionately affected by the global climate crisis. Now, despite the fact that we actually contribute way less to the global carbon emissions. The global carbon emissions essentially means what is a country contributing to the environment. Now, Nigeria, honestly, despite the fact that we are contributing way less to the shift in climate and global carbon emissions, we are severely affected by the fact that the climate is changing every single year. We have severe droughts, we have unpredictable rainfall, we have rising sea levels. Like, we're not ready for what's happening. According to the UN, if nothing changes with the way we're using single-use plastics, by 2050, 90% of all the plastic waste in the world's ocean will come from 10 rivers, and 8 of these rivers are Asia and Africa. Essentially, the rivers, they drain out into the ocean. And all the plastic waste that we're going to be seeing in the ocean, 90% of it is coming from Asia and Africa. What does that mean? It means that we have to curb something. We have to make a shift. We have to make a change. Despite the fact that there's so many other things that we're thinking about, this thing might not be at the forefront of our minds, but the truth about it is it affects our everyday lives. Because when we have severe drought, when we have severe heavy rainfalls, when we have erosion, when our land no longer becomes able to grow food and our weather is no longer friendly to agriculture, it affects the bottom line, which is our ability to feed ourselves. So that's a side note. Bringing this back to Lagos State has vast waterways, and we are a key contributor to this problem, right? In addition to the fact that we use single-use plastics, we don't dispose of them properly. So the Lagos State government has said that, they got to ban it, and they need to not just about keeping the streets clean, but about also understanding that long term, this single-use plastic is absolutely destroying our environment. Countries like Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania, a lot of them have already gone ahead and done these bans. Rwanda, for example, they become one of the cleanest countries in Africa since the banning of single-use plastics in 2008, guys. So if we can really follow this model, we're going to become a leader in the environmental policy on the continent. But I'm going to be very frank about the fact that a lot of environmental policies are not friendly. And when I say they're not friendly, single-use plastics are the most affordable form of packaging anything. So what happens when single-use plastics are banned is that the manufacturers who use these single-use plastics, they will have to incur the cost of using more friendly packaging material. And of course, who's going to bear that cost in the long run? It is the consumer. This is going to impact communities. It's going to impact consumers' ability to be able to afford, whether it's something like pure water, whether it's something like being able to buy fast food, right? Businesses will always put the cost of packaging on the consumer eventually. My suggestion would be that as an incentive, businesses who ensure that they adopt this immediately, they need to be given some sort of incentive. So for example, you see this happen in America, in like California, where they're trying to encourage people to drive electric vehicles. The people who drive electric vehicles, they have tax credits, and there's incentives for driving a car that's more environmentally friendly. So although the government has done a great step in going ahead to ban these single-use plastics, there does need to be some sort of incentive and benefit and tax credit to businesses who have gone ahead and are adopting the ban of single-use plastics. We need to be practical about the society that we live in. We understand the fact that, yes, this damages our environment. But at the end of the day, the person who needs to drink water and buys a bag of pure water for 100 naira, 150 naira, if you tell them your pure water is no longer 100, 150 naira because this manufacturer can no longer rely on plastic packaging and therefore has to increase the cost of their sale, they're not going to understand that in that moment. This is the place where government policies and the reality of a country have to marry one another. When it comes to environmental policies, people will rarely ever adopt any environmental policy unless it benefits their financial pockets, not because they don't necessarily care about the environment, but because between the environment and their pocket, they're gonna always usually choose their pocket. So we definitely need to find ways to make sure that when it comes to eco-friendly packaging alternatives, there's incentives on those eco-packaging friendly alternatives. What type of packaging is being produced right here in Nigeria that people are going to be able to switch to? Because at the end of the day, we all know that a lot of eco-friendly packaging alternatives, they have to be imported. If you're importing goods, that means you're spending dollar. That means that the cost of sale is going up. So as we look ahead to January 2025, we need to understand how is Lagos State going to make sure that this policy is adopted in a way that's friendly not only to the manufacturers, that's friendly to the manufacturers and to the environment. I fully agree, single-use plastics are the worst, but we also need to take a reality of the country and the climate and the economy that we're currently living. What is the alternative that's being provided for the single-use packaging? Single-use packaging comes down to, what is pure water going to be packaging? Please comment down below. Let me know if you know any manufacturer that is creating eco-friendly packaging right here locally in Nigeria, and this can be an option for single-use packaging. Let me know. But I do love the fact that Lagos State is doing this. I think this is an amazing initiative. It's very important because, guys, the climate, the environment is changing, and we need to make sure that we are ready for that. Missed you guys on the scoop. Did you guys miss me? Because I missed you guys. Make sure that you share, comment, subscribe, like. Kisses. I'll see you tomorrow.